now we're going to install this Flatoo stencil. Just a couple of quick pointers. Just from experience, I've seen out on projects, anytime you have a perfect square or a straight, sharp line, I have seen, if the concrete is soft or for whatever reason, I have seen that when you stick your stencil down and you do all of your artwork, when you remove the stencil, it actually removes, it can, not every time, but it can remove a light layer of the color. So what I've just get in the routine of doing is just putting a bond breaker right just at the very edge. We don't care about what's happening out here. We only care about what's happening over here. So all I'm doing is just sliding a little piece of paper so that when we stick it back down, this outside edge is not in direct contact with the concrete. So from here, we just go about the same way. Same way we just showed you on the medallion. And this is the other way of hinging that I was just talking to you about. Okay. So now this hard edge is not sticking directly to the concrete. Over on this side, what I'll do is I'll just simply lift this edge up a little bit. I just don't like stuff stuck in, sticking to the floor in direct contact with it. So what I'll do is I'll just come over here, lightly peel this before I burnish it down, and put a couple pieces of paper under it. That way, there's no way we're going to see that ghosting that I was talking about. All right, from here, we treat it the same way that we showed you guys on the medallion. So in just a moment, we'll start going on to the next technique. All right, so now in our little airbrush here, we have a green dye. So as you can see, you have a lot of control. You got to be careful about any overspray. You can see over there, Leanne is shielding stuff. But I can get some real good detail with an airbrush where I can come in and hit specific parts like you see here, just for added accents. It's not that you have to use a fancy airbrush like I'm using. There are other alternatives as well. You can use one tool in particular is called a Prevail Sprayer, and this is an example of that. So it is CO2 charged, and you can actually put dye in here. You don't quite have as much control, but in any event, it's a real fast, effective way. So why don't we see what we get? I'll have Leanne just go ahead and pull off that real quick. Pull that stencil off, and we'll just see what we get. Okay, to recap what we've done, we're on top of Skraffino. We've put patina etch, and we cleaned and neutralized it. Now, and we stuck our Flatoo down. Now we're going to use the Flatooing gelled acid and squeegee it around. You got to be really careful. It's just pretty much the weight of your spatula or your squeegee here. If you're too aggressive on it, obviously it could lift part of the stencil. Now, if you wanted more aggressive profiling, what you can do is take a chip brush and shave the bristles down to within about a ½ inch of the stock of the brush. And what that does is it makes the bristles real rigid, and you could actually take the brush and lightly scrub with the brush, and that's going to abrade the surface just a little bit more if you wanted a deeper etch. The amount of time that you leave it down is really a function of the type of effect you're trying to get. Generally on something like this, for our personal preference, I like to take it off within minutes, because I don't want to remove all of the stain that's there. I like kind of an organic look. It gives it a nice, almost mottled look. And this is about it. So all we're going to do is continue like this. We're going to give it roughly 3 minutes, and then we're going to clean and neutralize it. And so what we do there is we simply re-scrape all the gel off. You can see Leanne has a box right here. We'll put the leftover gel into the box, making certain we don't get any on our Skraffino floor here. And then, once we have it all off, we have a pH neutral cleaner and a sponge, and we'll clean it all up, remove the stencil, and we'll see what we get. All right, so we've put our gelled acid down. We've only let it sit on the surface for roughly 3 minutes. Just, again, we want to, in this case, we want an organic look. Remember, if you really want an intense look, what you could do, meaning where it etches the colored stain off a lot, you could actually take it off like Leanne is doing and put another fresh batch on there, and then use the stiff bristled brush that we talked about and just gently kind of scrub it in, and that's going to remove color. So it really is a matter of personal preference, and you certainly have to do some experimenting to get the looks that you want. But it's really simple, it's really fast and easy, and you can imagine that's going to help take your work over the top, perhaps right in a foyer, a front entrance, a porte cochere, anywhere like that you could do this type of an application. All right, Leanne is squeegeeing the residual off, and then what we'll do is she's going to go right to her, she's got a bucket of clean water with some neutral pH cleaner in there, and then she's just going to go over the whole stencil, removing the remaining stencil. And again, it looks like we've got some light etching there. It looks like it's back to gray. And then once she's completely done with the neutral cleaner, I'll hand her over a bucket of clean water, and we'll go ahead and rinse it with clean water. Now, when you first remove the Flatoo, it will probably appear that we have a little bit of wicking underneath the stencil. And if everything goes as planned, it's really not wicking. The acid did not wick underneath. It's just this little bit of moisture, just a little bit of water, and it'll dry out. So you'll get some really clean, crisp edges using this process. So she's about ready for our clean water here. You notice she has her bucket. She has her bucket over here sitting on a non-absorbent piece of paper, because you don't want to drip the residual onto the adjoining concrete, because it would actually etch where you don't want it to etch. So just protecting all these areas. You ready? Okay, there's her clean water. I'm going to take this out of her way. All right, Leanne's done a very thorough job of cleaning. Let's start to remove this. Now look, you don't want to be real aggressive. You want to just run this little pick sideways to remove this. So you got to just be real gentle. And by leaving this the acid down for just a moment like that, we got a real organic look. It's a very natural look. Next step is to remove all this, put a fan on it, and we'll seal it. Okay, we got the look that we were shooting for. Again, we want that kind of an old Tuscan look and feel, so we didn't leave the gelled acid on for more than about 3 minutes. And now that we have the stencil removed, Leanne's just simply doing a cleaning on the stencil, and I got to tell you, it really looks nice. So it's a pretty quick and easy method of creating a really nice graphic on your floors.